Hello again, everyone, and welcome back to the front line with Joe and Joe Pasillo and Joe Rossinello, and let us go into the breach. Joe, do you want to see why they want to censor social media? Because with social media, if you have one of these and you're willing to go into the breach a little bit, okay, you're going to expose a lot of crap. It's the only way to put it, crap that's going on out there, okay? And we want to show you a video out there. If you're joining us here at the front line with Joe and Joe, please like, subscribe, share, do all that fun stuff. Help us out wherever you can, particularly on Twitter. Let's watch this mother. And this is the way people should be talking in this current culture war to some of these insane people who think men could be women and women could be men. Watch this.
On the basis of the comfort and dignity of girls and women, I'm asking you and telling you, please do not use women's spaces. It makes them feel uncomfortable.
My girls and the other women I am with are very comfortable with being in the
Right.
bathroom.
Well, fortunately, I'm not your daughter, and my daughter is also not your daughter.
No, that's right.
And she
So
would
she's
feel,
staying-
she would feel very uncomfortable. No, right. No, you interrupted me.
Excuse me.
You
I'm
interrupted
not here
me.
for a debate. Beth, do you mind?
Right.
I would ask you to please call up your daughter.
I beg your pardon. And
Whoa.
I am asking you as a mother.
Wait.
I'm asking you as a mother. Do not use female spaces.
And I'm
It
very
makes-
uncomfortable.
It makes women and girls feel
mother,
very
as a
uncomfortable.
mother,
You are
I am-
not. How dare you?
As
You
a
are
mother,
not a mother.
I am very...
You're not a
You
mother.
never birthed your children. You're not a mother, Dawn.
Right,
I
I'm
took a job
just
of mine, which is
I
even
was
more
asking-
I love the one lady in the background who just points out, you never birthed your children. You're not a mother, John. Now, Joe, here's the thing, though. Here's where I want to start. Take it where you want. The smugness of this guy. Did you see the smirk on his face when a woman is saying, I'm not your daughter. My daughter's not your daughter. I don't care what you think and what your friends think. In other words, we don't want you in female spaces. You're not a female. You see, that is what we need to do more of. That woman's not being violent. What she's doing is she's protecting her daughter, and she's saying, look, whatever delusion you're suffering under, you're not going to subject me and my daughter to. Please don't use, and she even told her at one point, she even told him at one point, you're not going to use female spaces. And I'm telling you, you're not using female spaces. Joe, I'm throwing it over to you. This is the way we have to start talking to people, because civility and compromise is out the window.
Well, you made a good point. That's why they do want to censor social media, because this type of stuff they don't want to see. That's number one. Number two, notice that woman, as in the woman with the blonde hair who has a daughter, they don't care if she's uncomfortable. You see, that's what people have to realize. Your rights don't matter. They don't matter. And here's another thing. They should, because you have rights too. And if you have a shy 14-year-old daughter, why should she be subjected to a grown man who could be indecently exposing himself in front of her? Why does her rights not matter? Because they don't. And that is the political situation right now. And it's as clear as day. And frankly, people aren't willing to say that. But it's true.
Yes.
People have to be very direct on that. Your rights matter too. And I'm going to tell you this right now. As far as the general population, this is a loser. Even amongst Democrats, this is a loser.
That's why they want to censor it.
And that is exactly why they need to censor it.
See, they don't have to censor pro-life people so much. They've been so successful in tagging us as fascists and this and that. They can almost let those go by now. Even though they would prefer that we don't make our arguments, because obviously our arguments represent the truth in every way on that issue. And so they don't, but they still, at the end of the day, they don't feel as much of a need. Unfortunately, is because most women in America, unfortunately, not the vast majority, but the majority of women in America are in favor of some abortion to some degree. Okay. I think it's about 40% or 45% that are pro-life, and the rest of them favor abortion to some degree. So they can get away with that. They can't get away with this, Joe, because even a pro-abortion mother, well, look here, let's talk about the feminists. J.K. Rowling, she's no conservative. She's pro-abortion, okay? She's against this. Martina Navratilova got in trouble. Others have gotten in trouble, whether conservative women, feminist women. Even if you're a woman now and you speak out, look at what's happened with Riley Gaines, okay? Blatantly robbed by the NCAA, blatantly robbed of a trophy, of a medal, all right, by Leah Thompson, okay? When they tied in their swim meet, okay? They don't care about women. That's why they have to squelch these videos and anybody talking about this, because it's women who are saying to a guy like John, who's dressed as a woman in this video, excuse me, that's not going to happen. And that woman could, like I said, could be pro-abortion, pro-life, doesn't matter. Women now do not have a voice in this argument. And when you see clips like this, it's the only way you're going to see the outrage. All right. And let's face it, Joe, and I'll hand it over to you. This is not like you mentioned earlier in another video how we've called this for a while. Why? Because we're prophetic? No, because we have common sense. We called this, that these are the things that were going to happen in locker rooms. Girls were going to be raped. That's what happened in Virginia. That's why Glenn Youngkin is the governor.
Girls are raped in prison.
Girls are raped in prison. How's that? By men who are pretending to be women. So they go to the female, so they go to a women's prison. The spa out in California were the freaking weirdo, and that's what he was. He knew exactly what he was doing. He was a pervert who wanted to expose his junk in a spa that's full of women. It was an Asian spa, and one of the things in spas, they all get nude, all right? And he wanted to go hang out with the nude chicks, all right? Oh, no. They protested that. Okay, well, we can't kick him out. What do you mean you can't? Or we can't kick her out is what they said. All of the things that were said, all right, and not the least of which, of course, is female sports and what's going on there. Everything that Joe and I said, many others out there have said, going back 5, 6, 7 years, because this all happened in the last several years, okay, is coming to fruition. The only way you're going to see it is social media. And the only one who's really truly allowing us to show this right now is Elon Musk and Twitter.
Well, interesting. And I'm glad we brought up that point. The Democrats and Republicans, as for the most part, are in agreement on this issue. Overall, it shows you the divide between the establishment and the people. They are not interested in your opinion. They are not interested in legislating your views. They're not. You see, this is a good example to connect that dot, guys. People, they're not interested in the Democratic person who's against this. And this is also something that we just talked about, where ESG, environmental, social, and what's the word under it? Governance. They're going to govern the social around the people in lockstep with the corporation that's going to enforce it. It's happening right in front of you. Your views don't matter to the establishment, which is a globalist ideology. Sorry, this is a great example of it. And again, people, you have to open your eyes, because I'm telling you this right now, this is the largest power grab outside of what you've seen in history with guns. It's not with guns, but it's a power grab nonetheless. It's happening. It's only going to accelerate. And I'm not a conspiracy theorist. Save this clip and talk to me in 10 years.
And remember something, like you said, they don't need guns. They don't need bullets. They'll take away your ability to put food on the table. I mean, that's what ESG is all about. If you don't fall in lockstep with with what BlackRock wants and Larry Fink and the rest of them, all right, in cahoots with the government, because that's what we have right now. We have a fascist economic system. It's corporatist. It's fascist, okay? If you don't fall in lockstep, we're not going to take away your First Amendment rights. You're just not going to be able to eat. Or you're not going to be able to go to work so that you can buy food, so that you can eat. Or if you do eat, we're going to give you bugs. But if you behave the right way, we might give you a piece of chicken once a month. That's really what it comes down to. Joe, I want to make one final comment on this. Violence. The violence is coming. There's a video circulating of a weirdo. I might do a clip on it later on. And yeah, he's a weirdo. And he's basically saying, if you block me from going into the ladies' room, it's going to be the last mistake you ever make. And he's speaking to men. All right. Now, to me, that is violence. And I've covered this before. and another clip with Cenk Uygur. People like the Young Turks and the left, the hard left, they think that if a so-called trans person shoots somebody for blocking them from going into the ladies' room, let's say if I had a daughter, you have two daughters. If your daughters were in the ladies' room, and let's say this guy John wants to go in, and you say, wait till my daughters come out. You can't. Men are not allowed in the ladies' room. This guy's advocating violence. He said it's the last mistake you'll ever make, and the government is going to support that, even though they don't want guns for everybody else. The violence is coming because the way and I'm going to hand it over to you, the way they're phrasing it is, if you do these things that are verbal, don't go into the ladies' room. I'm calling you he because you're not a she, you're a he. If you do all these things are now considered acts of violence, which they're not, and they could be met with violence, which is real violence, like punching you in the face or, God forbid, shooting you. Joe, final word.
Well, we've seen this in Vancouver recently. There was a protest, and a gentleman, like you just said, got violent with the person who was protesting against his behavior. He was an individual who was a transgender individual. I agree with you. It's not conspiracy theory. Our Department of Justice is biased. Our government has picked winners and has picked losers. And frankly, the transgendered crew on this has been picked as a winner. And if you confront them, these radical district attorneys in these cities are not going to side with you. That is a fact. This is not conspiracy. And sadly, Joe Basile, you're 100% right. And again, it's not about justice. It's not about democracy. It's not about debate. It's not about issues. It's about raw power being exercised. That's exactly what this is.
That's right. That's right. And that's why maybe we should do what Tucker Carlson said. Let's take 10 minutes a day. How about we say a prayer? I think that might be a good idea, because at this point, like you said, we could fight the battles, which we should. All right. But I think we're going to need some supernatural help, because this evil is crazy. Thank you all out there for joining us at the front line with Joe and Joe. Please remember, wherever you see us, like, subscribe, share, follow on Twitter. Please follow and do all that fun stuff. Remember, till the next time, our conversation is your conversation, and that conversation is going on everywhere. Stay tuned for more great commentary from Joe and Joe.